They called it Operation Midnight Hammer, a strike that turned Iran's skies into fire. Now Trump's warning Tehran again, restart the nukes. And America will take care of that too. From Fordo to the Strait of Hormuz, the fuse is lit, the rhetoric sharp, and the stakes global. A single misstep could ignite the next great war. US President Donald Trump has issued a stark warning to Tehran, signaling that Washington could strike Iran again if it resumes its nuclear program. Speaking on October 5th, at a ceremony marking the 250th anniversary of the United States Navy at Naval Station Norfolk in Virginia, the American president highlighted the recent June 22nd airstrikes on Iran's nuclear sites.
Just a few months ago, the Ohio-class guided missile submarine played an indispensable part in one of the most spectacular military feats the world has ever seen, the obliteration of Iran's nuclear sites in Operation Midnight Hammer. How did that work out? Pretty good, right? And we shot 30 Tomahawks, you know that. On top of, after the B-2, how about that? The B-2s, what they did, those beautiful flying wings, what they did, they hit every single target they hit. And just in case, we shot 30 Tomahawks out of a submarine, every one of them hit too. So I would say Iran was not particularly thrilled. They were going to have a nuclear weapon within a month. And now they can start the operation all over again, but I hope they don't, because we'll have to take care of that too if they do. I let them know that you want to do that, it's fine. But we're going to take care of that, and we're not going to wait so long.
Trump praised the June operation, codenamed Operation Midnight Hammer, as flawlessly executed. The operation involved B-2 bombers and submarine-launched Tomahawk missiles targeting Iranian nuclear facilities in Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. Trump noted that operation planning had spanned over 2 decades, with previous administrations allegedly lacking the guts to execute it. His comments underscore a renewed phase of military and diplomatic brinkmanship between the US and Iran, with Washington pressing Tehran to halt uranium enrichment and curb its ballistic missile program, demands Tehran has repeatedly rejected. In response, Iranian officials have condemned both the US and Israeli strikes, while criticizing European powers for attempting to leverage the UN and nuclear watchdog mechanisms.
We undoubtedly consider the Israeli regime and the United States responsible for the unlawful assaults against Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities.
Baghai argued that the misuse of the International Atomic Energy Agency reports by the US and 3 European countries created a pretext for military action. The Iranian official reiterated that the IAEA had provided no evidence that Iran's nuclear program had deviated from its peaceful path.
In such circumstances, it was expected that the IAEA would swiftly condemn the Israeli and American actions against Iran's nuclear facilities.
Amid escalating tensions, Iran's military leadership has highlighted its preparedness to counter any threats. Major General Mohammad Pakpour, Chief of the Revolutionary Guard's naval forces, visited units stationed on strategic islands in the Persian Gulf, including Abu Musa, Greater Tunb, Lesser Tunb, and Siri.
There is full preparedness so that if any move comes from the enemy, it will receive a strong response.
Pakpour referenced the June 12-day conflict with Israel, asserting that the same spirit that allowed Iranian forces to bring both the United States and Israel to their knees remains intact. He emphasized that the IRGC Navy is equipped to counter any aggression along Iran's coasts, islands, and territorial waters, and warned that any adversarial action would be met with a decisive response. The Strait of Hormuz, a key choke point through which roughly 1/5 of global oil and gas shipments pass, remains a flashpoint. Iranian forces have staged exercises covering the Strait, the Gulf of Oman, and the Indian Ocean, signaling both readiness and strategic intent.
If the enemies make any move at sea and Iranian islands, the IRGC Navy will respond to it with complete preparedness.
This display of military readiness complements Iran's broader narrative of deterrence, emphasizing strategic control over regional waterways and the protection of national sovereignty. Despite heightened rhetoric and military posturing, international diplomacy remains a crucial factor in addressing Iran's nuclear program. The UN Atomic Watchdog Chief, Rafael Grossi, has stressed that military action would only offer short-term disruption and cannot eliminate Iran's capabilities.
One thing is clear to me, to Iran, and to those who attacked Iran: a lasting, permanent solution to this situation and to the doubts surrounding Iran's nuclear program can only be diplomatic. Although attacks or military action may have short-term effects, the technical and technological capabilities exist. What was destroyed can be rebuilt.
Grossi also clarified that the IAEA's reports were never intended to justify military strikes, noting that Iran had no evidence of diverting its nuclear program towards weapons. The IAEA continues to work with Iran on inspections, including sites affected by the June attacks, with further technical agreements needed to fully resume monitoring. Meanwhile, Iranian officials have criticized Europe's role in diplomacy following the recent reinstatement of UN sanctions through the so-called snapback mechanism. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said the United Kingdom, France and Germany had diminished their own diplomatic leverage and undermined the cooperative framework previously established with the IAEA in Cairo.
The Cairo Agreement is no longer relevant for our cooperation with the IAEA. The three European countries thought they had leverage in their hands, threatening to implement a snapback. Now they have used this lever and seen the results. The three European countries have definitely diminished their role and almost eliminated the justification for negotiations with them.
Araghchi confirmed that Iran currently has no plans to negotiate with Washington, focusing instead on assessing the consequences of European and US actions. As military and diplomatic tensions remain high, the international community faces a complex challenge, balancing sanctions, negotiation, and regional security while avoiding escalation. Iran's steadfast position, coupled with strong military readiness and backing from allies such as Russia and China, suggests that any path forward will require careful, sustained diplomatic effort.